Hi, welcome to my Pride Talk. I'm Kris. I use they, them pronouns, FYI. And there's a lot of words that I can use to describe me. Some of them would be queer, would be one. Another word that's on my mind a lot is child. So my mother is coming to visit, and I keep remembering how she calls me her, well, not her child, let's just say. But that's who I really am. My brother's sibling. When my brother had his children, he asked me, who do I want to be for his children, right? Do I want to be their aunt? Do I want to be their uncle? And I was thinking, well, is there some other word that I can choose? Not those two? Is there another option maybe? I did research. I looked up how to say both of those things in other languages. I looked up pet names. So what I landed on was a kind of gender neutral option called Entle, E-N-T-L-E, but I have to admit the real reason why I love it is because of the Ents from Lord of the Rings, the big trees that talk. Yeah, but that's who I am to my nieces and nephews. So is there Entle or NT, because you gotta have a pet name even for that. So the purpose of this talk today, what I really wanted to chat about, is how is the intersection between queerness and language. And I landed on this topic because this is something that I've considered and thought about my whole life, even when I didn't realize that I was thinking about it. When I first moved out here to California from Houston, where I grew up in Houston, I had no idea that there was language or words available that described who I am. All I knew was male, female, husband, wife, gay, lesbian. Queer was a word in my world, but not a good one. Drag queen, nothing else really. And I don't really fit into any of those. But boy did I try, because I thought that was all that existed, right? Were those words, because that's all that I knew. And so when I came out here to California, I was absolutely elated to learn that there was a word there's a word that describes somebody who is not on that binary, who doesn't feel male or female or in between, but somebody who's kind of somewhere else altogether, right? And at the time, that word was genderqueer. Since then, that term has taken on a much more nuanced meaning, and I love it. I love that word, but it's no longer a word that I used to describe myself. So I started using non-binary, right? And I even have an issue with that word because, well, it's still connected to the binary, right? Yeah, words are very interesting. So I'm not a scientist. I didn't study psychology or human development or anything like that. But what I do know is that we are wired to intertwine language with experience, with understanding. All three of those are extremely interconnected for us, and are so since we're born, since we're infants, right? So I was talking with somebody earlier today about how children children will see a dog, right? And we say to that child, look, that's a dog, right? And so the child makes that connection and puts dog into dog category. So about yay big, 4 legs, walks on legs, right? Furry. And so then that same child might go up and might see a cat and we'll say, look, dog. And we'll say, no, cat, right? And they see a cow, right? And say, look, dog. We're like, no, that's a cow, right? And all of that learning and all of that experience is connected to those words, right? So when children see me, depending on their experience, depending on the questions that they've asked, depending on the answers they've gotten, right? They look at me and they say, look, boy. At which point a lot of people say, no, don't say that, right? Right? And then the children are confused, right? Of course they are, because I present in a masculine way. But their parents are reacting in a way that's not saying that, right? So I just blow up their category, right? I'm the outlier, I guess. Yeah, imagine this. Last week, I was at Firestone. So this isn't about children, actually. This is about adults. But a similar thing. I was at Firestone, the barbecue place downtown. And I went up and ordered food. And the human who took my money, who took my order, said, oh, thank you, sir. Right? Great. Not a problem. Went and sat down. Number was called. Went up. The human who gave me my food said, oh, thank you, miss. Like, that's interesting. Within 5 minutes of each other, right? Those are 2 very different words being used to describe me, but all right, different experiences, I guess. And then I had to go back up to the counter for some ranch and barbecue sauce because, of course. And a different human this time, who gave me those particular items, had no idea what to say. Either that, or he was, or they were very busy. I don't know, but I went up and I said, "Oh, can I have some ranch?" And they just gave it to me, and then turned and went back to their business. Right. So I had, in the span of about 10 minutes, someone call me sir, someone call me ma'am, and someone who possibly had no idea and didn't engage. Which again, I can't assume that they had any kind of assumption either. So, but I just find it interesting that I had all 3 experiences within 10 minutes of each other. And I remember sitting there eating the food and thinking, how different those 3 individuals experienced me, right? So the one who called me sir, if that particular human saw me as a cisgender male, right? I was just some dude who walked up and ordered food, and all right, great, totally forgettable, right? To the one who called me miss, I was a probably uncommon looking miss for them, I imagine. And then to the other human, I might have just been a blip on the screen because all I needed was ranch and done, right? I have other business to do. But there are other people who avoid using language with me because they don't know what to use and they don't have the words to use it. And a lot of times that creates discomfort, right? And I think that discomfort is really the important bit here. I think that it's important for us to see and to understand that when we don't have language, when we don't have words that we can use to process what we're seeing and what we're experiencing in our lives, when those words don't exist, it makes sense that we would feel uncomfortable. Lord knows I felt uncomfortable the first 20, 30 years of my life because I didn't have words. I still don't really have words, frankly. I have a whole blog. Well, I used to have a whole blog. Don't get excited. I used to have a whole blog called Where Language Ends because I felt like that was where I live. I live at a point where there are no words, so where language ends is where I ended up. And I was very uncomfortable for a very long time because of that, because I had no idea how to process my own experience of myself, which is a bizarre place to be because I have my experience and I'm living it, but I can't figure it out, right? Yeah. I could talk for hours about that alone, but I'm not going to. But my point here is that it took me a very long time to validate my own experience. And I know that I think, therefore I am, right? I know that I am a human being, still working on the valid and valued part, but we're getting there, we're getting closer. What I can say is that individuals who are like me, there's no question as to the authenticity of who they are, the worthiness of who they are, just like any human, just like all three humans at Firestone. Each and every one of them is worthy and valuable and hopefully loved. I'm sure loved, but I think the important bit that I'm trying to say is, even though we might not have the language, even though the language might not exist right now, it's important to remember that all human experience is still valuable. Even those bits that are uncomfortable for us, or that we don't understand, or that we might not even understand how it is that a human being can be this way. And that's, I don't know, I find that the most fascinating myself. But yeah, I would challenge folks to challenge themselves, to transcend that sensation of disquiet whenever we encounter something that we don't have a word for. To open your mind and try to experience it in a mindful way, in a way that makes it possible for us to find connections with each other across all of our different experiences. So okay, well, I think that's what I got for you. I hope that you enjoyed my Pride Talk, and thank you very much.